You remember how yesterday I said I was never going to do more than one take on things like this? And how immediately after that I said, unless this microphone's not recording, then I guess I'll have to. Guess I just sat here and talked to this microphone for 20 minutes before realizing the little red light on it was flashing, which meant the manual mute was still on. Nah, I'd be this idiot. Let's try this again, shall we? So, gosh, that's going to shorten this one significantly, I think. I'm going to try very hard. You know what, that's okay. I got really rambly my first take. But I'm going to try very hard to not let that dampen the mood. These are the kind of things where if I wasn't already kind of excited to do these things, if this had happened on day one, I would have canceled this project. That's the way my brain works. That's how upset that would have made me. Or like yesterday, if I had found... Okay, so yesterday, I've also got to remember that the things I've explained already are gone now. So, backing up a little bit, first things first, I'm sorry for the odd, high-pitched tone in the sitting here segments of yesterday's video. I'd forgotten that one of the reasons I quit doing LPs in the first place was I had an issue with my microphone, and it only really happens, it's either when I'm recording, or either you can really hear it when there's dead air. There's this weird feedback thing that it's doing, and it's in the microphone. Initially, Blue was going to fix it for me, but I'm a lazy piece of crap and never got around to sending it off. So, that never happened. But it tends to be... It's either better or overpowered whenever there's a little bit of background noise. So today we're listening to A Realm Within from Genshin Impact, except that it keeps buffering. It did this in the same spot last time. Why do you do this? Okay. As just a little bit of background noise to hopefully keep that tone from getting bad whenever there's a bit of a lull when my brain shuts down, which happens often. So, just like yesterday's episode, this one is going to pick up from immediately when the recording stopped. So, after I stopped recording yesterday, I put together the edit, which wasn't really hard because I had done the heavy editing of the outdoor segment of make it sound like this is a big thing, of the little, grinding down of the adapter beforehand. I try to do, if there's going to be editing like that, I try to do it as I go, because that's just easier. So all I really had to do was put it in the split and, render that out and upload it. So did that, and then I listened to some more of that channel I mentioned, the Eurobeat remixes of a bunch of stuff, which was really stellar, actually. I'm probably going to put in the effort to link their channel in this one, because seriously, it was really cool. Waluigi's Pinball, still a great one. There was one of just the General Raceways from Mario Kart 64. The Luigi's Mansion one was actually really fun. There were some bangers in there. Some of them gave me chills, and afterwards I was actually thinking of, I couldn't never get lighting good enough to catch it, but that good music that makes all the hair it gives you goosebumps all over your body all at once when you get a hit. Oh, I live for that. Anyway, that was a new insight too, so kind of a good thing that the microphone wasn't recording. God, I hope the sound on this is alright. Hey, anyway, after that, while I was doing that, and between watching that and waiting for the upload, and I was chilling with some Monster Hunter, knocking out some of the lower rank quests that I just kind of skimmed over. A little bit of background on my Monster Hunter journey. I played it originally on the PS4 around the time of its release. Played the crap out of it, actually. Ultimately, I believe I did... I don't know if this required me doing all of the optional quests as well. I think it did. But I unlocked the Rainbow Shader, so I played a lot of Monster Hunter World when it first came out. So now I'm replaying it on PC because basically there was a sale and I was able to get the DLC and the base game for the same price as the DLC on PS4, and with it on PC I don't have to pay for Plus to play online, and that's a big deal for me because I don't play my PS4 that often anymore. So I only really would have gotten a month, and like it's $12 worth. That would have mean I'd have to spend like nearly $60 just to play some Iceborne with other people for a month, where on Steam, anytime I get the itch and want to pick it back up, I don't have to buy online. Great. That was the only real downside is on the lowest settings, it's just inside my poor old computer's capabilities. I bought this machine in 2015, I believe. I got it for Christmas in 2014. So the old girl has done me very well. I cannot complain about her at all, and I'm not complaining about her. She has served me well. The fact that she runs, I'm glad she runs it at all, because I really didn't take that into consideration when I swapped over. So, good on her. Once the upload was done, I messed around in some mobile games. I went way too in detail about the mobile games last time. I'm not going to do that again. I will bring up the one that I like the most, though, which is Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. That one's really fun. If you really, really like Final Fantasy, and you are not addicted to gacha systems in a way that will negatively affect your life, give that one a look. It's really fun to see the Final Fantasy characters across the series, the entire franchise, interact with each other. The gameplay is fun. It's turn-based. It's a turn-based play on the original Dissidia, which was a fighting game, a play on fighting games. It's just real fun. I absolutely recommend it. The gacha system does not include characters. It only includes weapons for them to unlock extra skills. So you can absolutely play all the way through the game without spending a dime or even an in-game currency on a draw, and be perfectly capable of completing the main story. And that's hours and hours of free enjoyment for you. But if gachas are bad for you, and you lack self-control, no, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Won't recommend. Same for Genshin Impact. No, I'll get to Genshin later though. After dicking around a bit, I went to bed at about 2, and then woke up at about 2. Slept about 12 hours, which makes sense considering I only got about 4 hours of sleep the day before. Hopefully we'll hit somewhere in the middle tonight. When I got up, Dad was already in the yard, which he mentioned he might be the night before, but so I threw on some shoes and a shirt and hit the yard, which I actually recorded a bit of today for you. So we're gonna go ahead and cut to the yard work. Well, howdy doody. Don't y'all feel special today? Getting 2 outdoor bits in a row. So I don't know how much build up I'm gonna do into this clip, so I guess I'm just gonna act like I'm not doing much at all. God, I'm out of breath. I'm so out of shape. I've hardly done anything. Don't want to ruin the surprise yet. So I'm just gonna act like I haven't done much, just in case. Be easier to plan that way. So I got up this morning, and there we go. That's good lighting, I guess.
while I set up the tripod. Dad mentioned last night he was probably going to get in the yard, and we've had a old dead tree. It's been dead for a while. Bugs ate it or something. That's a shame. I was trying to adjust my phone on this little stand it's stuck in because it kept pushing the lock button. I knocked it off, and that would have been a hilarious shot, but it locked the screen first, so it stopped recording. Damn shame that. Yeah, so pardon me while I set up. Yes, this is the same shirt I wore yesterday. Sue me. We're out doing yard work. Yeah, Dad mentioned yesterday he wanted to do yard work today since we finally had a cool day that wasn't going to rain. And so that's where we are. As soon as I got up, lit up the window and he was out here. So threw on a shirt and some shoes, and we started piling up this little dead tree. So I figured I'd treat you all, yeah, that ain't even at all. I'd treat you all to a little time lapse of the tree burning. Is it the ground? I guess it's the ground. Cool. So, here's the little pile we made. I guess I should give you a better look at it all. Hopefully this is fairly stable since it has the tripod as a counterweight. Yeah. So we had this nice little art project. Dad's off grabbing our lawnmower so he has something to sit on. Don't blame him. He's got like 6 pounds of metal in his back. I don't, and I want to sit, so I can't imagine how much his back hurts. But yeah, gotta do a little time lapse of this burning once he gets back. Should make for something interesting. Cool. Yee. Dragging my bones to the side of the road, counting in my head so loud it could explode. It could explode. I'm heading on back to Reno, heading on back to Reno. All the way, 'cause I'm heading on back to Reno, heading on back to Reno. Every day, can't wait. I'm heading on back to Reno, heading on back to Reno. I say yeah. Right. So that was burning of limbs becomes yard work in general. Still catching my breath, so pardon me. But Nick, you say, why didn't you do that before you started back? Because depending on the day, that can take anywhere between 10 minutes and 2 hours. Because I am out of shape. Pardon the noises while I recollapse the tripod. But Nick, you say. No, we're not doing that bit again. Yeah. Why is everything I own sticky? Why? I'll deal with that later. So, yeah. When I say yard work, we've got a good bit of yard. We live, I gotta clean the roof, which isn't quite enough for all the straw to get off. on its own on our little car shed, carport we call it. Yeah, we live good little ways. 10-minute drive from the nearest town and 20-minute drive from the nearest actual town. We've got about 3 acres out here we keep clean. So basically inside that tree line there there's a little road there. Over here it breaks about where that dirt is. That's my grandma's house. That's my grandma's old house, which is falling apart, but it's older than most of my living relatives. So the blue one down there, there's the shop I was in yesterday. All this is yard. This is front of our house. Don't mind me, just trying not to dox myself. Oop, don't want to catch that number plate. And then back over there is where the tree is. That's my room. School bus. Really proud of how our little town is dealing with COVID. They're taking it extremely seriously. We've had very little issues within the school itself. Most of our issues have unfortunately been the elderly and, high risk, which is unfortunate, but, it's nice to know that somewhere in Georgia's taking it seriously. But yeah, gonna let the rest of that burn down. Dad's still chilling with the lawnmower. And that's gonna be about it for outdoors.
That was fun, wasn't it? It wasn't. It was kind of fun. There was fire, at least. Fire's always fun. The song you heard during the time lapse was Reno by Red Vox. That's another one off of Another Light. Really, really good stuff. Check them out. Red Vox. Bandcamp / I don't know. Anyway, they're fun. So yeah, there was yard work. The only thing you didn't get to see was us building the pile, because I didn't think about I didn't know exactly how I wanted it done. If I knew we were going to be building such a fantastic little pyre, I would have taken my phone out before, and then afterwards I did a little bit of bug spraying, and just didn't feel like taking the phone back out for that because it took 3 seconds. And I got a shower, chilled for about 10 minutes while watching a friend stream some Demon Souls. Kind of crashed the stream while I was still in the shower. Which sounds like more of a scandal than it is, I guess, because it's just audio and I had it muted most of it. It's not like... Sometimes I'll put my phone in a little plastic bag so that I can change the music and stuff, but because I got a shower caddy that keeps it all up out of the water. But, gotta rep the liability squad, right? Chilled for a little bit longer, and then I was getting up to do something when my niece and nephew came over, so that was fun. So my niece went through this phase where we were worried she was afraid of me, because she'd run up to my mom and hide from me. We eventually found out she was doing it for attention, so I started ignoring whenever she would do it. But whenever she would do it at first, I'd go over and crouch down behind her and try to be as non-threatening as possible, because admittedly, a 5'10", or am I 5'9", I can't remember, a large, hairy man emerging from the darkness can be fairly scary to a child about this tall. So I would make myself as small as possible to be unintimidating, and my mom would be like, "It's only Uncle Nick. It's only Nick. It's just Uncle Nick." But like I said, eventually we found out she was doing it because I would crouch down behind her and give her extra attention, and Mom would give her extra attention, and so we just started letting that play out without giving it any attention, and it stopped. So now she'll do she'll pretend to be scared for a minute, run up to my mom and go, "It's just Nick, it's only Nick," and then she'll come up to me like normal. It's adorable. That child's a mess. So I hung out with them for a little bit, and then came back in here, had a bite to eat, and did my daily Genshin stuff. For a while that was shorter than usual, because when I first started playing Genshin, I was playing it pretty much all day for about a week and a half, because I was still making good progress. The way Genshin's set up, the story unfolds as you level up your adventure rank. Once you level up by completing quests, whether they be mainline, optional, or like there's daily quests that you unlock at a certain adventure rank. And then once I hit a plate, for the first several days, I did not hit a point where I was being blocked by adventure rank. And then around the time I did, I was getting back into Monster Hunter World. Anyway, yes, my explanation of Monster Hunter World was in this one. Oh boy. Yeah, it was. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, for the past couple of days, for about a week and a half afterwards, where I was playing mostly Monster Hunter, my daily Genshin would just be log in, do the 4 daily quests, and that's it. Then day before my birthday, I think, so it would have been last Wednesday, I hit the point where I could do the latest story quest, so I spent most of the day playing it. Anyway, point is, I'm hitting the point where I'm starting to be able to do new quests, and today actually a new optional quest landed, because there was a big update last week, and so I ended up spending a good chunk of the day playing Genshin, which is fun. Genshin is fun. It feels like it was a game first, and then a gacha system was added afterwards, because the system really can't be abused to push yourself forward in the game. None of the gacha stuff can be used to push up that adventure rank I was talking about. So you cannot force that rank up at all. You have to play the game to raise that adventure rank. And there's no real way to grind it out really quickly outside of the daily quests. So it feels like the mid to late game experience is, visit us for an hour or so every day. And it's not like holding your face to a grindstone saying, if you want to experience our game, play it for 12 hours a day or give us money, which is an easy hole for these types of games to slip into, I think. So it's nice, it's refreshing to see a game not doing that. So it's a nice little chill thing, filling the hole that I used to fill with Destiny 2, which was hop in, do dailies, hop out. Which I'd like to do just because, above all else, for all of the woes about how different things were handled in Destiny 2, the gameplay was never not fun. The shooting always was fun. It just was. To me, anyway. I won't say objectively, because, everybody has their own experiences. And there were some weird stuff every now and then. But the shooting was just always really, really solid for me. That was the one thing that Bungie just always got right. And this has kind of filled that hole for me. It's not... I was, the way people were talking about Genshin before it released, it's not just the Breath of the Wild clone it looked like it was going to be. I mean, there's plenty of that in there, but it leans more to MMO tendencies than the simplified things that Breath of the Wild did. And the combat itself is somewhere between Breath of the Wild, and at times can feel like, though not as in depth, that can feel more like Nier Automata to me, with the dodge mechanics. And there's probably a better example, but that's just the one that comes to mind out of the games I've played. I like the switching characters. I like that among the weapon sets there are different styles. You know, not every longsword is a longsword. Not every greatsword character is just a greatsword character fighting style. They have different, you know, there are differences between different characters aside from just their skills. You know, so it feels like they're making a game and they're not just crapping something out for money, I guess is the point I'm making. Which is not something you always get out of free-to-play gachas. So that puts it up there with Opera Omnia to me, because again, Opera Omnia has the same thing, where the detail that goes into the interactions between the Final Fantasy characters tells me either A, the writers have just as much passion for this series as a lot of the fans, or B, they at least have enough respect for that passion to do their research and do it right. So, yeah. After I did my daily Genshin stuff, while I was getting ready to transition to Monster Hunter, but I figured I wanted to go ahead and get this done. Which is getting, well, at the point that I originally recorded it, it was getting done a bit earlier than usual, but now it's 9 o'clock, which is about usually when I'd start recording. And I'm getting ready to wrap up, so we're still getting a little bit earlier. I like to have that 3-hour window to have it up before midnight, just in case something goes wrong. Even though I like to edit as I go when I do segments for inserts, like the working on the adapter yesterday and the yard work today, just because it keeps it simple. And again, I'm doing all of this editing on my phone, and so like what's the word I'm looking for? The rendering, the actual processing and rendering of the files when I do the edits can sometimes take a little bit. So like I kind of do them partisan. I kind of do them in parts, like the time lapse. I did some trimming in, and then I added the music in, because unfortunately the editor doesn't let me do music in specific parts. It's really simplistic, but I'm learning my way around it, and I think it's what I want to continue doing for now, because it's really, really simple, but I'm still able to do basically what I want to. There's been a couple of parts where I'm like, it'd be fun to do like text, and I can do that on the phone, so I might play around with that at some point, but right now I'm content with what I'm doing. And if anything, yes, I have to do the the point. So one of the things that hit me towards the end of the original recording was that doing these, I'm excited to do these recordings towards the end of the day. I'm excited to just sit and talk to a phone for some reason, knowing that someone is going to listen to it, and even if they weren't, like that first day, even if no one did, it was just kind of nice to sit and speak aloud my thoughts. One of the things I've missed the most in my past almost 3 years now, since I lost my insurance, was that specific aspect of therapy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is a substitute for therapy. Please don't go to your therapist and say, some hairy man on the internet said that all I have to do is talk to a phone. No, that's not what I'm saying. But like, one of the big parts of therapy for me was just being able to speak unfiltered for the most part. I would say for the most part here. At my therapist, of course, it was completely unfiltered. So this is giving me a piece of that, a small piece of that back. Just letting me talk, uninterrupted, and just think out loud in a place where I can reflect on it in the future if I need to, or, and at the same time get feedback after I've, it lets me completely unfiltered and without any extra input, have a full thought process. And then, you know, if people react to it afterwards and that grows, great. If not, that's fine too. But I like to have, it lets me have a complete thought, because sometimes, especially if it's going to be, you know, a big one, even if it's not an important thought, but if it's a big one, my thoughts kind of play out over a long period of time. And so there are often times where if it's during a conversation with someone, the thought either ends up lost or not about what it was when it began or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, clearly there's nothing specifically wrong with that. In fact, some of the better thoughts come from that. When it's like some of my story ideas. Initially, I was actually having out loud conversations. Maybe not specifically about the story, but was just kind of tossing around a concept and ran with it. You know what I mean? Or just, you know, so it's not necessarily that that's a bad thing, but I like to have both. I feel like all one way or all the other in anything in life is a bit, that's where things get stale. And see, that was a completely, I won't say different, but that was a more fleshed out version of the thought I had just 20 minutes ago when I initially recorded this. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Where before it was just like, I'm excited to record these at the end of the day because it's fun. And now it's like, it developed into, I just like talking. I've forgotten how much I just like talking. I used to do this in my Let's Plays, and it was nice, even though no one listened to it. Sometimes it's just nice to talk with the intent of it being listened to, even if no one ever does. It's a nice way to sort your thoughts out. So, perfect thing for a video journal. But I mean, obviously, not every one of these is going to have a revelation like this. It can't. How can I? If I end up with 365 revelations at the end of this year, I might write a dissertation. But that's not the goal. Just thinking about it. No. It's just nice to be excited to do something again. Even as small as this. So yeah, this ended up longer than it was initially, and that means the runtime's probably going to be the same as it was yesterday, where at first it was shaping up to be shorter. I really hope this is not a theme, that they just end up longer and longer and longer, because I know that's going to make it difficult for certain friends to watch. But, for those of you that are still here, thank you for your time, as always. If I'm rewatching these in the future, just 3 days in, and we've remembered what passion is. That's, I thought that would take longer. Catch us tomorrow.